guys, it's Floz and this is Floz's Corner, where I talk about mostly cross stitch but sometimes other things that I enjoy doing. So in today's video I'll be talking about my cross stitching update for the past 2 months, July and August. I know it's been a long time, it's just special times and I've been really busy. If you are interested in what I've been up to for 2 months, then keep watching. Today is 3rd of September, the Sunday, so it's Australian Father's Day. Happy Father's Day! So normally I would film my videos on a Saturday and then edit and upload on a Sunday. But yesterday we actually went down to the country to visit my father-in-law, and we wanted to avoid today because we know it's going to be chockers. And then I didn't have that much time to plan for the video, so it ended up being today. And I know I have multiple times said, oh, I would film the update video, in different weeks. It just didn't end up happening because either I don't have enough time or I just didn't have enough energy. So here we are talking about 2 months of progress somehow. I have prepared some notes just before this filming, and I will have to refer to my notes quite a lot. I've got my iPad on my laps. What else do I want to say? So because I haven't filmed for a while, I'm sure I will lose my momentum in knowing what to say at which point. What else? And so my videos tend to be sort of specified in chapters down the bottom. I tend to talk about my haul / hobby budget first, then my whips, and then my stitching plans, and then life update. So at which point, if you want to exit, feel free. You'll know when to exit. When I start talking about something you don't care, or you could jump through the chapters. And I don't know, there's a lot going in my head right now. So I know it's 2 months. I haven't done that much stitching though, so I'm hoping this video is gonna be very long, but most likely it will be. So I am filming in between going shopping. So let me start from the beginning. So today we went greyhound walking because it's like a really nice day, and every second Sunday is like a special greyhound walk somewhere close to home. And then after that we went grocery shopping, and then I was planning for the video, and now I'm filming the video. But soon the doggies will want their second WALK, and we also have to start preparing for dinner. So there's like this very narrow gap. I'm hoping to get this video filmed in like an hour or so before the doggies start complaining. And you might hear the dishwasher going. There's JP's exercising in the garage. So yeah, there's just let's get on with it. In terms of budget, I think 2 months ago I might have said technically right now I should still be like $8 in debt, but I'm gonna waive the $8 because I can't be bothered. So I'm just gonna say September I have $50 in my hobby budget, and for now I haven't purchased anything. So I haven't purchased anything for quite a while, and I have plans to purchase one chart at the moment, and possibly start it soonish if I can get all the threads in order. yeah, so it will be one for work/boss. So my boss recently broke her arm, and I think it was like let's say 2 weeks ago. So she's out of action for 6 weeks at this stage, and I think she will be retiring in a couple of years. So I'm thinking to get this stitched up for her or for the team. So after I purchase that, I will tell you about it next month. So there's not much to talk about here. Let's just jump right into the whip. So like what I said, I didn't stitch that much these 2 months because I had a trip back to China to visit my parents pretty much the first 2 weeks of August. And the whole July was being stressed out and planning for the trip. And then it was, you know, going on the trip and staying in China, doing all the things. And then afterwards it was, I guess, going back to normal daily life and trying to adjust to, you know, working and dealing with the dogs and whatnot. So yeah, stitching definitely took a hit. Even though it's 2 months, I have worked on, I think, 6 things. Just have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 projects. And 2 projects only got 1 day. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is... Actually, I remembered, thanks to my notes. So the past 2 videos, I said I would ask you a question in my video and you can answer my questions in the comment section and other people can read different answers too. I thought that would be quite fun. So in today's video, my question for you is, what's your favorite thing to collect in terms of cross stitch? So it could be, you know, charts or particular type of charts or kits, a particular brand of kits, fabrics. You can be as detailed as you want or as vague as you want. For me, I don't have a huge cross stitch collection. Pretty much everything I own, well, chart or kits wise, I already showed in my, I think, cross stitch stash, that video. But I guess if you say that, I like to collect Dimensions Gold Collection kits. I think I'm pretty good in terms of having like a high standard and having a pretty good, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm pretty strong-willed when I want to be. So I do control myself a lot of the time. I just don't want to be a hoarder. So yeah, let me know what you like to collect down in the description, down in the comment section. Okay, so talking about the whip, the first thing I'm gonna show you is Funny Coffee. It's a PDF chart, so I'll show the preview there. It is a PDF chart I purchased on my bobbin. I can't remember the designer's name, but I will leave the details on the screen and down in the description box. I always try to include as much detail as I can in the description box, so if there's something you're interested in, you can just, you know, click or find it on Google. So this one I am stitching for JP and my favorite cafe. So we tend to frequent this cafe, I want to say every week, or pretty much every week. Well, I didn't plan this, but now I want to get it done before Christmas, and I thought, oh, it would be nice to get it fully finished and gift them this as a Christmas present. So there is no proper name for this project. On my bobbin website, they just call it Funny Coffee, which I thought was pretty tacky, to be honest. So I have worked on this for 10 days in total, 5 days in July, and by the end of working on this in July, I hit 61%, then 5 days in August. So I took this project with me in China and worked on it when I was in China for 5 days, and then I got it to 73.8%. And this is where I'm up to. There will be like a comparison thing on this side, so you can see roughly. I think it should be a pretty big chunk considering I did, more than, is it 20%? Yeah, about 20% in 2 months. I'll get it closer. I've also kind of done as much backstitch as I could. Well, I like to finish a couple threads when I want to backstitch. I don't want to just, do backstitch and then finish half a thread and then have to put the thread away. That's like a habit thing. So it's quite cute. Especially now I'm stitching like the little spirits, eating all kinds of stuff, opening mouth, laughing. There should be like a cherry cream looking thing down there. So yeah, I'm getting there. It seems like every time I take it out, I need to do like 10% at least, so I can keep up with the progress to finish it by the end of the year. It would be nice if I can finish it in November and then just send it off. I'm thinking to send it off to 𝓕𝓵𝓸𝔃𝓃𝓮, so 𝐸𝐨𝐬𝓵 Handmaids, to make like a, what is that? I don't know what it's called. It's like, it can stand by itself. Is it like a pool? Something pool? So they can display it on their, like next to the coffee machine. And the plan is to also put their logo down there. And I hope I have enough space to work with. I think so. It looks like there's quite a bit of blank space down the bottom. So I still have to plot that out. Is there something else I can tell you? Yeah, I think that's it. That's it. So that's the first. Oh, sorry, I told you I'm not experienced in doing video anymore. This one, it's stitched on 28 count printed even weave. It's called Rustique, purchased from Sew It All in Australia. It is stitched 2/2, and I haven't changed anything unless it's a mistake. One down, and I'm drinking white tea. And we actually purchased the white tea in the airport in Qingdao. It was quite funny because my dad is like an avid tea drinker, and he was gonna give us some white tea, but I was worried that we wouldn't have enough space in our luggage, so I just kind of said, he was gonna give us like this little tiny boutique looking tin of white tea to bring back, but my mum and I were packing furiously for 2 days and somehow we missed it, so we didn't bring any tea back. And JP and I thought about white tea, and we had a bit of time before flight, and this tea shop was going to close because it was like getting to it was probably around 10 o'clock in Qingdao. And we ended up purchasing a box of tea, white tea, before she closed the shop. And I said, never let my dad know. My dad was going to be so mad if he knew, because we decided to buy rather than taking his tea. But yeah, it's quite nice. It's very mild. So if you don't like the bitterness of green tea, you might like white tea. And the good thing about tea leaves is that you can rebrew quite a few times actually. Well, if it's good quality tea, you should be able to rebrew for a whole day. Anyway, moving on from tea. You probably should grab some kind of beverage too, because I know this isn't gonna be a short video. Okay, the next thing I worked on was Winter Cabin. So this is a Dimensions Gold Collection kit, and I'm stitching this with Laura from I Stitch Birds ? I think she said she's at 6 point something %. But anyway, we started this, was it in June? I can't quite remember. No, it was in May. It was in a cross stitch retreat. Was it May? In May, yes. And what can I tell you? I don't even know. It looks like this. So it's pretty much the only thing we have in common in our stash. And she kept telling me to buy it because it was cheap on Amazon. So I ended up giving in. And she was very proud of it, because she likes to be an enabler. I think recently I just got mentioned by Vera from Vera's Stitching Corner. She's also stitching Winter Cabin. Is there something else I can tell you? So this one, it's stitched on Pale Blue Ada 16 count. And I stitched it in both months. So I stitched 6 days in July and 3 days in August. So I took this one with me to China as well. So yeah, the 3 days I stitched was in China. And I will show you my progress. So right now I am at 7.4%. And I stitch it in hoop. How do I can do this. That'll probably help. Because the Ada itself is a bit transparent. So that's my progress, and there will be a comparison photo there. There's not too much to say. So right now I'm at 7.4%, and I kept complaining about my projects not having half stitches because I quite enjoy doing half stitches, and this is possibly the only project right now I got that's got half stitches. And finally I managed to climb up. So I start in the middle, and then I started doing the cabin, and then the colors were kind of samey. It's a lot of light, the window, the cabin itself. There's the rails, the handrails. So then I thought, okay, I'll climb up since there's not heaps of space in between. So now I have reached the top. Is that? Yeah, so that's the top of the whole project, and that's where a lot of half stitches are present. So I got to the half stitches, which I'm happy about. Most of the half stitches are done with 4 strands, some with 3. I thought, since it's so bulky, it should be pretty full coverage, but if I get it close, it's not that full coverage, is it? It's not too bad once I have something at the back so you can't see through it. But yeah, it's not as full coverage as I thought it would be on 16 count with 4 strands. So yeah, I'm quite happy I got to the top of the page. Let's just hope I didn't calculate it wrongly so there's not enough space down there, because I feel like normally the dimensions kits don't give you a lot of fabric, whereas this is not horrible, you know what I mean? Is there something else I can tell you? I think that's it for this. And then the next thing I worked on was, I call it Christmas mitts. That's the one. But it's actually Jingle Paws. It's a mitten ornament. So I stitched it in July and I did a Christmas in July. And this was my very first Christmas in July because I didn't really have many Christmas projects. So I was stitching on this one. Already finished this. So this is the second one. I got this one from a Aussie cross stitch stash unload purchase, and this was like a freebie I got with my purchase. So yeah, I stitched 3 days in July and I'll show you my progress. It is quite small, but I don't know why it's still not done. I mean, like, it just takes ages. This one has a lot of 3/4 stitches. 3/4 and quarters? 3/4. So yeah, you have to pierce through 14 count Ada, which I don't mind. It just takes a bit longer. And this one is done 3/1, so 3 strands. Should be a comparison. I don't think I did heaps. But yeah, next time when I take it out in December, hopefully I'll finish this whole thing. I don't know, like if you look at it, it's quite colourful, but it's quite boring to stitch. Yeah. There's not that much progress. Then the next thing I worked on was Coffee Break. Which did I have? Yes, I did. So Coffee Break is a kit by Designworks. It's stitched on 14 count. My goal at this point is to do 1 coffee per month because I want to finish this at the end of the year too. With this one I have a little bit more time because I don't need to fully finish it. As long as it's done, I'm happy. So I actually stitched this one in both months too. I did 4 days in July and 7 days in August. So the 4 days was mostly working on the border because obviously I was distressed before the trip because I don't know, every time we go on some kind of trip, I get really stressed out because I don't want to forget anything. Also, I don't know what to expect. So yeah, I was just very distracted. So I was hoping to stitch something easy, and I decided to stitch the border because it's very repetitive and I don't really need to check the charts. I know how it goes. You pretty much just check the charts to make sure you didn't go, you know, like one thing too far. So yeah, the 7 days in August, I just kind of finished it off and I'll show you where I'm up to. And this is 1, 2. So I pretty much just finished that cafe latte. It's technically not completely done because there's some back stitching not done like on that border, and I think, yeah, some of the cream color not finished. But I'm just gonna say I'm done because I'm done. Like last month I was getting so bored because I kept stitching and it wasn't done. And I feel like every time I was talking about this project, I would say I stitched on it on so many days, but it just wasn't done. Same story here. And don't know, I didn't feel this way before, but this time when I took it out and looked at it as a whole, even though it wasn't quite done, obviously there are 3 more coffees down the bottom to make the 12. It's pretty impressive. It looks really good. I just wish there was an Australian coffee version, because most of the things look different in Australia. We're all like coffee snobs. Actually, we're not all. You get more coffee snobs in Australia, especially Melbourne. So that will be cool. The next one. Yeah, what is? I think depending on, I don't know, because I'm not sure whether I've got a lot of. Do you think there's more stitching here or here? Because I think in terms of colors, the Turkish coffee would be more fun to stitch. But there's a bit more involved if I want to get it done. So the whole border needs to be done. There's 3 sides. I mean, either way, it's 3 sides, isn't it? But it seems like it takes a lot more cross-stitching space. Whereas this one, yeah, I don't know. I might stitch on this one in September. So just sort of go in order. Yeah. So there's less counting. Maybe. So yeah, I can't wait to get this done. So no one will say, how come you stitch coffee all the time? Are you really into coffees? Okay. And then the next one I did was bunnies. Unfortunately, this one was only worked on for a day, just a couple of days before I left for China. This is a PDF chart I got from Etsy. I think it's by 𝓕𝓵𝓸𝔃𝓃𝓾 Designs, maybe. And the preview will be there. This one is a gift for a friend who designed our, I guess, like a cartoon logo for free. She has 2 pretty senior bunnies now. I think they just hit 10 years old. So yeah, we'll see whether I can get this done before they pass away, because I don't think bunnies live that long. This one is here. Because I only stitched it on one day, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of progress that can be seen. So I'll get it closer to you so maybe you could tell. Because it's been a month since I worked on it, I really don't remember where I stitched. Yeah, no, I don't remember. This one's stitched on 16 count hand dyed Ada called Blue Sky. Let me do this. Try to cover the back and maybe you can see better. There it is. How is that? Is it better? It's quite cute. So it's that watercolored style, and it has two bunnies and the bluish wreath. Not much to say about this one. I did it for about 1.5 hours on that day. I think it's a couple of days before the trip, so somewhat distracted. Just wanted to work on something. And then I think before I worked on it, it was like 28.6%. So now it's 29.3%, quite close to 30%. Next time when I take it out, whenever it is, I do want to work on it a little bit more. Hopefully we'll get to like 35%. It gets tricky because, especially in the wreath, there's a lot of confetti. Especially like the popping blue, it goes everywhere. And yeah, a lot of the time it has like no adjacent tiles of the same color, and either you just carry your threads and you jump quite a far distance, or you just gotta start and stop. Yeah, and then the next one is another project that only got worked on for one day, unfortunately. And sorry about this lighting. The doggies are literally there sleeping. They like being in the sun, so I don't really want to close the blind. That's why, depends on where I am, the lighting could be, you know, in and out. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't bother you too much. The next thing I worked on for a day this week is Paris in Flowers by 𝓕𝓵𝓸𝔃𝓃𝓮. This is my very first 𝓕𝓵𝓸𝓃𝓮 kit. It's worked on 18 count Ada, and it's quite a big project. It's got 8 pages, and I'm mostly working on page 2, so this area, kind of half of the building, and slowly creeping onto page 1. The plan is, so I don't remember. Okay, because I couldn't get a really good copy of the chart or get a good scanning of the chart, I was working on it with good notes and just marking it off manually. And then I got JP to scan this chart at work with like the really powerful scanner. And I managed to load it into Markup RXP, and somehow it's working okay in terms of tracking symbols. So the plan is to fully finish that page I'm on, which is the second page, and then move on to Markup RXP, and that way I can kind of know which percentage I'm at and how many stitches I've done, which is not as important. It's mostly the percentage, so I know when I can get it done. And also it's easier to track symbols. I still got quite a lot to go, especially for second page, some on the right and a lot on the bottom. Yeah, I'll show you. So this is probably one of those that you can't see much of a difference either, because, you know, only one day, and I'm a very slow stitcher as well. So one day progress is almost negligible. Oh, and there should be a comparison thing there, and I'll get it close to you as well. I think I stitched some here, sort of the bit that connects page 2 to page 1, and filled in a couple colors in this like leafy green area, because I'm slowly hoping to fill this side on page 2, and then there will be a lot of sky on the other side, which hopefully is faster to do. But yeah, it's looking really nice. It's a very nice kit. And I recently saw a post about some new Dimensions kits, and I think this particular picture is used by Dimensions now, and there's a new kit. Personally, I mean, I don't know any details rather than Dimensions got a new kit coming out that's looking like that. So I don't know the size or anything, but it would be cool if it's smaller for Dimensions kits, but somehow they can maintain the details with, you know, some of the needlepoint techniques like cording or whatever to make things pop in a smaller scale. This one is quite big, so it will take quite a long time. So this pretty much starts my plan of stitching a project to represent every country JP and I have visited. So we haven't, well, luckily and unluckily, we haven't visited many places. The most places were during our honeymoon to Europe, and we went to like 4 countries. So this is, yeah, Paris. So this will be the project for Paris. And so for the one day to work on this project, I was using the Nurge wooden hoop. Do I have it here? Because it's quite large, and I thought, you know, it'd give me a pretty big area to work with. This is the 8mm, I think 22cm diameter. I don't like it because, and I'm very hungry if you can hear my gut rumbling, it's so thin, and when you try to tighten it, it just comes off almost. And this metal like tightening bit is not very easy to use either. And it's awkward to hold because it's so thin. Which is weird because their plastic hoops are also quite thin. Are slightly thicker than the 8mm, so probably 1cm I'd reckon. But it's, because it's quite rigid, so it's much easier to tighten. The only thing is, because of this curved ridge, sometimes your fabric can go a bit funny underneath. But yeah, I can hold the plastic hoops no problem, even the bigger one. But this one is really awkward to hold. So if you do want to try the Nurge hoops, go with the 16mm one, so 1.6cm thickness. I reckon it will be much better. It does feel like the quality is quite good, because it didn't cut into my fabric. But yeah, I don't recommend the 8mm at all. Yeah, I purchased it during my retreat, and unfortunately there was no 16mm. I just thought, oh okay, it's right there, and I wanted to try their wooden hoop, so I just got it. And I think it was probably one of the last ones left too. If there were 16mm, I'd just go for the 16. And yeah, that's the last whip I've got. If you have sort of been keeping up with the much more regular than my video YouTube community posts, you would have seen JP started cross stitching too, and he does it way less frequently because his main hobby is Kings of War, which is like a subgenre of miniature games that involves a lot of painting. There's like the basing as well, and after everything is done, you play like a battle with someone. but he wanted to try cross stitching, so I thought, you know, we'd do it. So he is working on Mighty Samurai. He took this project with him as well to China, and he worked on it for a couple of days when I was stitching. And before that, he worked on it for another day before the trip. He's doing pretty good, so I will just get him to show you his project and you can talk about what he thinks. Let me just try to clean up a little bit so he has a bit of space to sit. Jang!
Hello.
So I get JP to borrow this one for now, and this is the project bag he brought to China with all the stuff contained inside.
Very convenient. Thank you very much.
Eventually, I think we'll just get a more better suited.
What do I show off first? First, what it is. Yeah.
So this is the project he's working on: Dimensions Gold Collection, Mighty Samurai.
Mighty Samurai.
The Mighty Samurai.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The Mighty Samurai. Very manly. It looks cool though.
It's really, unfortunately, it's out of print already, but I think this is one of the ones that has really nice facial features. That guy's handsome, man.
Yeah, apparently you don't have a good track record in the stitching, like, of good faces. Like
No,
usually.
I think
But
it's
yeah, this
really
one,
hard.
nothing wrong with this one.
No, very angular, Asian-ish, pretty good.
Yeah, not extreme. Yeah, so progress, that was impressive. But this is what I did while I was in China. Really, it was just all in, I started it here, didn't I? Yeah.
You did one session.
I did one session here and then we did a few sessions there.
think
I'm
two.
obviously very slow and I don't know, about after an hour, I think hour was the longest I stitched for, so anyway. There we go. It's unrecognizable. It's just part of his robe. He's
Is it
good.
a blend? Yeah,
It's
so
a blend.
the first colour he chose was a blend.
It was
and
the
I
most
had
common one.
And I had to explain what the blend is. So what have you learned?
Alright, well, obviously, I've learned how to start and to finish, and the way I'm doing the start, what's that called? It's the one where you go through a couple of the actual, like, fabric.
So it pretty
threads.
much embeds the threads to start the cross stitch underneath other cross stitch. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the most basic sort of.
Florina says the back looks pretty good. She says it's quite neat. Is it still? You still have that opinion?
Yeah, neater than mine.
Yeah.
Because especially, I will get it close. Is it this way or that way?
That's that way. Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Oh. So
Can't tell. Doesn't
if
look
you
like
look
ropes.
at his stitches, if we focus, it's really neat. And unfortunately, his way of stitching is completely opposite mine. So when he's asking, which way my needle should go, I got no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to go from left to right, up top to bottom, or something like that.
I think you go right to left. Because
Yeah.
I go left to right.
Oh, right to left. Anyway, it's working. The stitches are staying in there. That's quite fun. The reason I stuck with this colour wasn't really because I wanted to. It's because when I made some photocopies at work.
Show it.
So these are some photocopies I made of the thing, so I can actually mark up where I am, because Brenda would like to pass it on when we're done. But yeah, it turns out it's too big and I couldn't photocopy the key that tells you what each thread is. So even though I knew what this one was, I couldn't do anything else. So I was stuck doing this kind of salmon-y red. That's why I describe it as salmon red.
I just want to show. This is the color palette. Oh
yeah, there's a metal threads you gotta watch.
yeah. It is bloody beautiful. It's much better than the one I want to do, which is the companion piece.
Well, I think it helps that there's...
Look at the color. It's amazing. It's so pretty. And I think he's quite happy as well.
Well, he's got red and purple robes.
It's literally purple. The purple's literally like a royal purple.
Yeah, royal purple robes. He's got teal on his tooth katana. You can see that. He's got two swords, so that has a teal wrapping. And obviously then there's a kind of a tealy, greeny tree in the background, and there's a peacock, because why not? Just for added colour, because a peacock definitely comes in with lots of colours.
So yeah, hopefully he will be able to stitch a bit more in September, and we'll keep seeing the progress throughout my stitching updates.
Jeez, now I have to. But yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I've also got lots of painting things I need to do, so trying to balance all that. And did you mention the PS5?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's the problem. No, it's a good problem to have. Alright, let's put it away properly.
Cool.
Alright. You don't need me anymore?
No.
Did you drink your tea?
I did. Okay. Now that JP's gone, that's the end of the whip section. Now talking about plans. Unfortunately, I don't foresee myself being able to stitch a whole lot this month either, because I'm a pharmacist, and most of the health professionals will have to do like a CPD points every year, which is like continuing professional development courses outside your work. I haven't done much this year, and it's gonna be due the end of September, so I'll have to quickly get on that, which will take quite a few hours, actually many hours. And then, as JP said, we got a PS5. So the story went, so JP's birthday already passed, and on his birthday he ended up going to a conference overseas, so he actually didn't have a birthday celebration. And considering it was very rare for us to be in China, and somehow it's in the same month of his birthday, so in August, my parents decided to do like a little celebration at home, and then he got this cake that was made by a person that my dad knows. So this person has like a cake shop. It was like a crepe? Is that how? Crepe? I would call it crepe cake, but you know, in a very shitty kind of pronunciation, it's supposed to be like crepe cake. So many layers, and I have made a post when I was in China about it, and they decided to give him a present too, which I gave suggestion, a PS5. So we got a PlayStation 5. The way we got it was through Amazon. The first one we got was... Actually, I shouldn't go into too much details here. I'll tell you the story later. The essence of the story is we'll be playing quite a lot of game too, because we got a new game for the PS5, and there's a game coming out as well, which is huge, and we'll be playing that too. So there's not going to be a lot of stitching done, but I'll try. So the plan is, since I just started Paris in flowers, a couple of days ago for like a day, I want to at least get a little bit of progress in. So I will continue working on it for the next couple of times when I do have time to stitch. And then I'll have to keep working on the 2 coffee projects, because I want to get them done by the end of the year. So let's just hope I can get another at least 10% done on Funny Coffee, and another, coffee done for coffee break. Considering I don't have that much time to stitch, I think the 3 projects will probably take over the whole month, unfortunately. And I also... So, quite a few months ago, I started and finished this little project called My Wedding Day by Soda Stitch. So this is a gift for a colleague's wedding in November. I'm thinking, considering the wedding is happening in like 2 months, 2.5 months, I probably should get on to planning a fully finish, so how to frame it and whatnot. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I do want to frame it in a hoop. So obviously I should probably measure how wide it is. I think it's wider than it's tall, but yeah. Do you use ribbon? Do you wrap the frames, the hoop with ribbon? What about the back? Do you like glue it on, or do you hand sew it on, the back fabric? Like I don't know, I've never done it before. So if you have any experience or recommend a really good tutorial video on YouTube, let me know. So that's pretty much the plan. There's not a lot happening. I'll just put it into this roll thing to protect it. Okie dokie. And then it's time for life update. So far, I have been talking really fast and stumbling with words because my lips cannot keep up with my brain, obviously. That just goes to show how strongly I want to get this done in a timely manner. So life updates. So maybe like a week before I had to go to China, I did a paint and sip for the first time. I have seen people talk about it or on the internet for a bit, so I thought, okay, this would be fun. To be honest, it's not as fun as I thought. It was, I think, granted, it was like a cheap option among all the paint and sips in Melbourne. I don't know, like my experience wasn't super positive. I feel like I didn't get heaps of instructions. The lighting was a bit too dim because it was in like a bar. Also the owner of the bar, I'm assuming he's the owner. So we got this deal on Groupon, like a website, and he was saying Groupon would take half of what we paid for, and he only got half, and that's not even enough to cover like the painting bit of the deal. So even though the deal we bought should include a free drink on arrival, we got none. I mean, we possibly should have said something, but I don't know, we're just too nice, so we didn't want to make a scene or whatever. Next time, if we knew, we probably would have just directly booked this with the place instead of going on the website. But that's the whole point of, I guess, advertising your place on a website, right? So you get more exposure, so more people will book, and then next time they will go directly to you rather than going to a website, and you don't get as much money as you'd like. But the way he dealt with it didn't really encourage us to want to go there again. Anyway, so I'll show you. I did take a picture and post it on Instagram about it. So this is what we did. I didn't do that good of a job. Apparently that mountain isn't supposed to be that color. So it's pretty much like a landscape sort of painting, watercolor painting. You're supposed to have the different colors in the sky, the mountain, this swampy place with a bit of beachy section, and then the glistening waters. Yeah, I think some of my friends did have fun, but yeah, I think the experience could have been better. So I don't know, like I might try this again, maybe in a different place, but the bar seemed quite fun because it had posters for different nights, for different activities. I just don't know after this whether I should keep what's the word? Like supporting this kind of thing. But yeah, I think it would be fun as like a little date with JP because he does enjoy painting. So maybe we could try that again some other, like sometime in the future for paint and sip. So that's like a new activity I tried. And then yeah, the trip back to China. So like what I said, I was stressing over it pretty much the whole July, especially like the 3 weeks before, because I was really thinking hard of, you know, what to bring. If you know any Asian overseas friends, Asian friends from actually Asian countries overseas, you would know the tradition is whenever you go back home, you would bring back a lot of gifts for different people, and a lot of more like privileged Asian people think foods or whatnot from overseas, like Western countries, are better quality, especially people from China. So they want you to bring a lot of stuff back. So yeah, my mom didn't give me a very long list, even though technically she wanted a lot more things. So I was picking my brain to think about things she might have enjoyed. So I ended up buying a lot more than what she expected, which is good in the end. It's just during the process of thinking about it and getting it, it was very stressful to me. And I'm easily stressed as well. So yeah, the 2 weeks there ended up being very short. I knew I had quite a few things I had to do. It was kind of paperwork-ish. Had to get it done in like government places, jumping from one to the other, going to banks, stuff like that. And there were quite a few family members that wanted to see us, so go out to eat, doing like reunion stuff. So after that, we didn't really have much time at all. We didn't do any touristy things. And I did mention in an Instagram post saying the only thing we did ourselves, aside from going to a cafe sort of routinely in the morning, was literally going to a cinema and watch Barbie. That's all. And I did have, so like our gastrointestinal tract was fine. We didn't have any like travel diarrhea or anything, but I had puffiness for a while. I thought it was for like the first week, but turns out it was this whole time, because I didn't want to get into too much detail. So pretty much my parents thought I really like was blown out. I was really getting, heavy, but almost 3 kilos was just edema. So yeah, I wasn't having the best time when I was in China, and it so happened when I went back home, it was like almost the most humid and hot time of the year. So my body was just not dealing with it, and JP wasn't super happy as well. So I'm hoping to make a cross stitch with me video soon, specifically talking about my experience being home for 2 weeks. I guess seeing a bit of a difference, or because I feel like the whole perspective is quite different, and my experience was a bit different too. But yeah, so I won't get into too much detail here. And I recently started using Amazon Music. And I started listening to podcasts. So right now I'm just listening to this podcast called Small Town Murders. The good thing is they have been going for 6-7 years. So there are more than 400 episodes. And I'm only at like 20 something. So I started just before this China trip. It's quite interesting in a small town setting. So you kind of get a feel of how remote the towns are, what people are like there in America, mostly in America. I mean, I would recommend you checking it out. The only thing is some people might find them quite provocative and rude because they make fun of a lot of things. And they do swear a lot, like a lot. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people are really opinionated about swearing, so enter with caution. And yeah, so speaking of PS5, so we got a PS5 through Amazon. Now I can finally expand on the story. So the first delivery, we opened it up and JP hooked it up, and we realized, the CD drive, the DVD drive, wasn't taking DVDs. We're like, what the? Is this supposed to happen? So then we tried a lot of different things online. Wasn't fixed. Then he ended up contacting Sony, and they were like, we've never had this problem before. Have you tried this? And most of the steps we have tried already, except one. So JP thought, okay, I'd give the last one a go. And obviously it didn't work. So it wouldn't take or read a DVD. So then we set out what to do. So Sony was like, oh, like you can send it to us and we can repair it, but it would take at least 21 business days. If you got it from Amazon, maybe you should use their like exchange or like get a new one because it's faulty. So then we went through that, and yeah, the second one was a big success. It was finally working, and we started playing this game called Diablo 4, which is a co-op game that we have played before. So we've played Diablo 3 before and really enjoyed it, so we decided to do this Diablo 4. And the game was a gift as well. So we've just been quite enjoying that, and it's a pretty big game as well. And I was talking about like later, actually this coming week, there will be another game we want to buy that's coming out, which is called Baldur's Gate 3. It's made by the studio we really like because we've played Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 by the same studio, and whoever got to play this Baldur's Gate 3 game in advance, early access, they solely enjoyed the game and said it was amazing. Unfortunately, Baldur's 3 is even bigger. It's like a huge RPG game in the, Dungeons and Dragons world, I think. So yeah, we can't wait. That's why I said, yeah, there's going to be a lot of gaming from now on, which will take up time for stitching. And then in August, so pretty much a week after we came back from, a week and a half after we came back from our China trip, JP ended up going to Singapore, and that's the conference I was talking about that took place on his actual birthday. And yeah, I was just in charge of the boys, making sure You know, they're good, especially after work. So pretty much I had to take care of them and then had to make sure I've got food for next day or next couple of days. And because of that, like every day while JP was away, I felt like once I finally stopped doing stuff and could stop and thinking about myself, it was already like 10:30 or after 10. And then I was so tired, I didn't want to do anything. It just ended up kind of wasting the time away by watching stuff on YouTube or watching stuff on did I watch TV? I didn't even watch TV. I was just watching YouTube, really. I mean, it's probably not super comparable, but because of it, I feel a little bit sorry for all the parents, because like it's really hard to find time for yourself. Mind you, the boys are not as demanding as kids, because, you know, once they've got walkies and food and some pats, they're good. They'll settle. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really didn't stitch much the last few weeks. Then I am also slowly organizing home. So I don't know whether I've talked about, I guess, changing the downstairs guest bedroom a bit. So this house, we purchased it when we knew nothing about purchasing a house. We just had a good feeling about it, then we bought it. And turns out there were so many things I wasn't happy with about this house. And we were slowly changing it, pouring money into it. And one of the biggest problem with the house is that there's just not a lot of storage space. And to help with that, I wanted to change the downstairs bedroom and gave it a bit more, you know, wardrobe space. So after purchasing a bed, that's pretty much it. Like, there's nothing else done. So after I got back from China, I was just slowly buying things to getting things organized, like bit by bit. So finally there was a mattress and I got things for the bed. I got a couple of like organizers to get rid of some clothes we don't wear or the clothes that are quite seasonal. So yeah, it's slowly getting together, but there's still a lot to do. So that's going to be a big project for the rest of the year, I reckon. And sorry, I'm just making sure. So the little one, Rocket, the greyhound, recently had an injury. What happened was, and this happened when JB was in Singapore as well. So I was walking him in the morning, and obviously greyhounds always have to be on lead, and Rocket is a very reactive greyhound as well. So we call it racist, because he would be completely happy with other greyhounds, but any other dog other than greyhounds, he will want to, you know, sort of rush to them and want to show them who's boss. So while we were walking, I didn't notice there was a dog tied to a tree in a front yard of a house. And turns out that leash was made of this like thick wiring material as well, and it was quite long. So first of all, I didn't notice the dog, and we were just walking past this house, and the dog suddenly started rushing towards Rocket, and Rocket saw the dog, and Rocket wanted to rush towards him, and it was a bulldog as well. I didn't know what would happen. So when they were about to collide into each other, I tugged on Rocket's leash, and then he fell. I thought, oh my god, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I kind of roughly looked at him left to right. I thought he fell on his thigh, which he kind of did, but there was nothing on the thigh. I thought, oh, lucky. No injury done. And then as we were, you know, advancing, I noticed like on the left hind leg where there's this really thin bit. It looked like it's just 2 layers of skin and some tendon. A bit of skin came off. It was like probably like a thumb size. It was a decent piece. And I thought, oh shit, I don't know what to do. So then we had to, well, I had to quickly take them home and, you know, put antiseptic on and wrap it up and all that. He wasn't bothered at all. He would still enjoy everything. He would walk a little bit funny, but he would still enjoy his walks. So it's been about 2 weeks. Finally, it's like it's got, what's the word? It's got a scab. So it's healing okay. The only thing we had to do is to make sure he doesn't, you know, leak it like crazy. So we were using Kona Shane. Right now he is not wearing it. So that's why I had to check when I heard like the licking noise. That was made by Rex, so it's all good. And that's pretty much it. Like I'm sure a lot more has happened, but because it's been such a long time, I don't think I remember too much. And I think that's a cue to stop. It has been a bit over an hour, which is not too bad. Yeah, this whole video I've just been kind of rushing, talking a lot, talking very fast as well. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. It's definitely long, but yeah, hopefully in the future I won't go MIA for like 2 months, because otherwise I really don't remember much. It gets a bit hard to get into the rhythm. And work is waning. I need to put the stuff away, settle with the doggies, and get on with my day. And tonight I'll have to do the editing. So latest, hopefully you'll see it Monday in Australia, maybe Sunday in America or wherever. I have noticed, even though I haven't done any videos, I have gained some new subscribers, so thank you. Yeah, I'm glad people are enjoying my videos and decide to subscribe. And I will continue to do my videos. And if there's something you want to see, let me know as well. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment. Yeah, otherwise I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoy your stitching and hobby too. Bye bye.